Good morning. So my name is Louine, for those of you who don't know. And the name of God that I'm going to be speaking to you about today is Abba, Father. Now the term Abba signifies a very close relationship, a very in-depth relationship with God the Father. It's a very intimate term. And it is something that would have come as a surprise for many of the Jews because they would have known God or praying to God as a very formal father, one who takes care of his needs and who is complete security to them. But Abba Father is a very, very intimate term. And I would like, or I hope, that by the end of this you would understand, or it would bring some understanding into how important this is in our lives today. So I'm going to be reading from a passage in Romans 8, and I'm going to be reading from verse 14 all the way to verse 16. And I'm reading from the Passion Translation. It says, "The mature children of God are those who are moved by the impulses of the Holy Spirit. And you did not receive the spirit of religious duty, leading you back into the fear of never being good enough. But you have received the spirit of full acceptance, enfolding you into the family of God, and you will never feel orphaned. For as he rises up within us, our spirits join him in saying the words of tender affection, Beloved Father, or Abba, Father. For the Holy Spirit makes God's fatherhood real to us, as he whispers into our innermost being, You are God's beloved child." So I have been really enjoying the bird song. I have enjoyed hearing them getting louder and louder. I know that's not everybody's experience, but I've enjoyed the variety of birds that I've started hearing, and going on walks or in the mornings waking up to it has really just been just brought such delight to me. And in an interview with David Attenborough, probably about a month and a half ago now, he was being interviewed around his thoughts of how COVID-19 would affect the environment. And during the interview, he mentioned that yes, the birds were actually singing more loudly and people could hear them. And he was asked, why is that? Is it because noise was drowning out the birds and they're singing? And he said actually the human activity, day-to-day human activity, is actually really distressing for birds. And we as a result of that distressing feeling for them, they stop singing. And I thought that was really, really sad, because we're meant to be caretakers of the world, and our activity is actually stopping a creature from doing what it was designed and created to do. And God used it as an analogy for me, because he said, human activity for us even, and not just moving about, but human activity in terms of how we engage with each other, how we engage with our environments around us, how we allow the environment to affect us, how we allow socially how things affect us, that can all have an impact and cause us distress. And so we lose our voice, we lose our song, we lose the very gift that God has placed in us and created us to do and bring forward as praise for him. We allow the same thing to happen to us. And I find that even more sad than knowing that we impact the birds in such a distressing way by our activity. And one of the ways in which we lose sight of what we were created to do is forgetting our identity. It's forgetting who we belong to, and it's forgetting how important that is in our day-to-day life and living, and how when we choose to see our identity and our value from Abba Father's perspective and who he is as our loving Father, that we then are able to find our voice again. So I'm going to read to you from Isaiah 51 verse 3, which reminds us where we come from. It says, "Listen to me, you who pursue righteousness and who seek the Lord. Look to the rock from which you were cut and the quarry from which you were hewn. Look to Abraham your father and Sarah who gave you birth. When I called him, he was but one, and I blessed him and made him many. The Lord will surely comfort Zion, and he will look with compassion on all her ruins. He will make her deserts like Eden, her wastelands like the garden of the Lord. Joy and gladness will be found in her, thanksgiving and the sound of singing." And I just want to encourage you not to forget where you came from, not to forget the very part of you that makes you sing praises to God. It's our relationship with a loving Father. Lauren spoke about God as the rock last week with her family, and I just want to reiterate here that in those passages, the rock was often used as a simile or an example of how God was David's complete security in those passages that she was reading from. And it was a very apt description for David at the time. And in Isaiah 51 it talks about not forgetting the rock that we come from, not forgetting where our complete security comes from and who our complete security is in, because that will bring a greater depth of understanding and knowledge as to who this Abba Father is that we cry out, and how he makes us his beloved child. So I want to encourage you, as we start already going back to work and being engaged in more activity and just starting life back up again. For many of us it hasn't stopped, but for some of us it has. It's slowed down a little bit. And I want to say to you that don't let the way you live your life cause you distress so that you forget who your Father is. You forget Abba, Father, and how that impacts your life is profound. It will cause you to bring forth praises of song. It will cause you to live out your gift, the very purpose that God created you for. And it will cause you to live a life that is just filled with fulfillment and joy. And God will sing his melody over you, and he will sing his song for you. He will call you, affirm you. He will encourage you. And I pray that you would know that intimate Abba Father. Have a good day.